CJ, you grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. What is one word to describe your childhood so far?
Um, Exciting.
Why exciting?
I say exciting because when I was growing up, there was like a lot of stuff to do here. So we have Six Flags, you know,
Mhm.
main events, stuff like that. But um, also doing my Blankies for my buddies, giving back
Yeah.
was also fun.
And so you said you describe your childhood as exciting. And as a young kid, what were some of your friends? How would they describe you?
Um, my friends would describe me as athletic, um, kind, and just very like relaxed.
Mhm. And on that note, you are pretty athletic, right? And you play, or you have a love of football. That would later translate into your organization, Blankies4Buddies. But tell me, what did you see in that sport that made it so appealing?
Football was something kind of passed down to me, but it's not only that, I also love the sport. So my dad played football. He went to a professional level and now he trains me. And so
Mhm.
football is kind of like my motivation in life besides Blankies for my buddies.
And football, you say, is your motivation for life. Are you like seeking to be an NFL player, something like that?
Um yes, I want to go to NFL. Um the team I would like to go to is the Minnesota Vikings. That's my favorite team, but any other team it's fine with me.
Yeah, I just got into NFL fan. I'm a LA Rams fan, but yeah, I'm happy for you. Yeah, Vikings are always a good team. So, uh, CJ, why did you decide to create Blankies for Buddies?
Blankies for my buddy started off as a way of coping with the loss of my little sister, and me and my parents decided that we wanted to like actually do something with this instead of just doing this to help me. I wanted to help other kids that were going through the pain that I went through.
And how old were you when you decided to create your organization?
I was 5.
You're 5 years old. So your loss of your sister at 5 years old, right? And you decided
Yes.
to take that pain and turn it into something positive, right? And help other kids. So, what were
Right.
some of the things in consideration for how you could help those kids?
Um, helping kids that went through what I went through was it made me feel really good about myself, and it made me feel good about what I was doing, and so that pretty much drive me to take ones for my buddies and turn it in from this charter organization to something like that can just that can help anybody during the future.
All right, so you got this idea to help kids, right? What were you gonna do specifically to help kids?
Um, Blankets for my buddies in the name. I would give them blankets because blankets are it gives kids or anybody a sense of comfort. It's warm, it's
Mhm.
soft, comfortable to be in.
Definitely, blankets are really comforting and definitely make sense as a thing you'd give them. So
Right.
you of course want to help these kids, and you're gonna help them with blankets, right? Blankies for my buddies, and of course you can't just buy a million blankets and give them
Right.
away. So how did you go about, I don't know, raising money, getting donations to get these blankets?
So, at the time, I had a GoFundMe, and not only that, but people were like messaging me through my Instagram, that they had a donation, and they would leave it on their porch, or they would even bring it to us, and we would just collect them for a certain amount of time, and then after that, once we think we have enough, we would donate them to um, somebody, to like
Hmm.
um, children's homes,
Right.
orphanages, children's hospitals.
And you talked about how people were reaching out to you via Instagram and through your GoFundMe. How did you get that awareness about what you were going to create?
The way that, like, it started off as just, like, texting our family members, cousins, and then as we did that, they were, spreading it to, all their friends and everything,
Mhm.
and so it kinda just went from there.
And so they were talking like, hey, I have a nephew, I have a cousin, his name is CJ, and he's going through a lot right now. And he's trying to help other kids, right, who are going through something similar, and he's trying to raise blankets and have those donated to kids who need that. That was that around what they were kind of sharing around.
Yes.
All right, so you have this GoFundMe set up, and you're having people on Instagram DMing you wanting to donate. What was a significant milestone from there? That was your first, like you raised $1,000. I don't know.
My first milestone was, um, I think it was about 500. We were trying to reach that, and so after that, we would buy, because blankets are about $2 to $5, and
Right.
so with about that much money, we'd have about 200 blankets or so.
And did you reach that goal yet?
Yes.
When was that?
Um, that was. You said when was that?
Yep. So what was the time difference between when you started your GoFundMe and started raising awareness until you reached that goal?
Um, about 2 years.
2 years. All right. So now you're 7, 8, around that. And you finally reach your goal. You go and buy these blankets and you're able to actually give them to kids. Tell me about that.
Um, Giving back to those kids, it, like those kids in their homes and any other place that they don't want to be. Giving the blankets to them, it really made me feel good. That because I know what how those blankets are going to make those kids feel,
Mhm.
and I know the pain that I went through as being young as them. It was hard, and so I needed somebody or something to kind of like comfort me.
Right. And so tell me about that day, right? You finally raise the money, you go buy the blankets, and you're going to give them to the kids. Tell me about that day, right? Where did you go? What were some of the kids' reactions?
Well, it was a lot of days, so um, recently, as we go to those places, I can't really see the kids. I never really did, but I know where those blankets were going, and I know that they would help.
Right. So, what was the very first place you would say that the kids were able to get these blankets?
Very first place was probably um the hospital that I was born in.
All right. So let's summarize this so far. So you age 5, right? You're age 5,
Mhm.
and you decide to, and you go through a loss that prompts you to create Blankies for My Buddies, which is all about helping other kids cope and have something that comforts them. And then now you finally raise the money after 2 years. You raise enough money to buy 100 or so blankets, and you go and donate them to a local hospital. Does that sound about right?
Yes, the first year we collected 786 blankets.
Wow, 786. That's a lot. And you gave them to the hospital and then other kids organizations. And now CJ, Blankies for My Buddies is a lot larger, right? You have a couple thousand Instagram followers, and your message has grown a lot more. What were some big events
Right.
that allowed you so much growth?
Um, our annual football game called the Giving Bowl, where it's a 7-on-7 flag football game. While we're collecting blankets and food to give during the winter.
Right, and that connected to your love of football, right? So you brought in that love
Right.
was something that has a strong purpose to it, to kind of creating this um, ultimate charitable event, kind of. Um,
Mhm.
and how much did you raise from that event?
Um, I don't really know. I We didn't raise any money during that event,
Right.
but, we fed about 500 families that first year.
Wow, 500 families. That is a lot, especially for for a pretty young kid. And
No, I wasn't 5 then. I wasn't 5 then.
oh,
I didn't start doing that until I was about 10.
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so yeah, but that's still pretty a lot for a 10-year-old. And
Mhm.
now, CJ, you have grown the organization tenfold. Blankets for my buddies. You have a Baskin Robbins unlimited ice cream I saw somewhere. What's next for you?
What's next is in October, I'm releasing my first children's book, and then there was one, and that book is pretty much about um, the loss of my little sister. Um, you know, all the pain and sorrow I went through during that time, how Blanks for My Buddies started, and how I proceed to like see it through.
And your book's coming out October, right?
Yes,
Perfect. And it's going to be all about you and your journey towards like what you went through at that young age. I love that, CJ. And
thank
you're
you.
doing a lot, right? And it's all with the motivation of trying to help other kids not go through what you went through, right?
Yes, but it's also because of my little sister.
Right. And so, would you say your little sister and that experience is your biggest motivation today?
I would, yeah, because I'm not saying that the loss of my little sister was a good thing because
Right.
it wasn't. She was the reason why
Yeah.
I'm even doing this now.
Mhm. Definitely, that makes sense. And CJ, a lot of kids want to help, right? But they don't really ever get to helping out, especially to the scale that you have done. Why is it important that kids take charge and do something similar to what you're doing and help the world around?
Um, because it doesn't matter how big or small something is, any act of kindness is enough to help a person.
Right. And what's your message to all the kids out there about kindness? What if they said, why do I need help? Right. I'm just a 7-year old. What
Right.
would you say to them?
Um, if you have an idea or if you want to like help anybody, just do it. Like there's no type of like plan because when I was young, I didn't really have a plan. It wasn't like a blueprint laid out for me. I just did
Mhm.
it.
So just do it.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have any type of have the urge to give back, then that's just something you want to do by yourself. Something you should do.
Mhm.
It's just it's the right thing to do.
Mhm. Um, yeah, and CJ, I love that message about don't plan so hard. I don't know if you ever heard the most difficult step is the first step. So just don't plan so hard
Right.
and just do it and just go and help people. And CJ, I want to now go
Yeah.
into a little more personal side of things. Other than Blankies for My Buddies and football, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
I play multiple sports. Rugby is something I just started a couple years ago, but it's turning into something I might want to do um, when I get older.
Mhm.
Also, I like communicating. Like, I'm not the type of person to like sit around in the house all day. So I'm a pretty active person. I like playing video games, watching TV, but I can't just do that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I gotta give back. I gotta play sports. I gotta do all this stuff.
Mhm. And yeah, I love how you're a perfect living example of how you can still go above and beyond for your community without like sacrificing doing other things.
Right.
And I like how well-rounded you are in everything here. And you're really young, right? You're how old are you now?
I'm 13.
So you're 13 now, and you're in an industry that in the nonprofit industry, which is pretty adult saturated. Um, how do you respond if someone says, "Hey, why should I listen to you? You're just 13."
Um, because it's their choice, so I'm not gonna force anybody to do exactly what I say. I do this because I know that it's right and it's something that I want to do in the future. I want to keep doing this. So if it's not something that you really, really want to do, I would say that you don't have to do it. But if you really want to do it, then do it.
Yeah, so age doesn't